All right, nature sheet number 36 and 37 impression tests. I got these stamps in 2 days early. I thought my rubber guy was going to ship it out tomorrow and I was going to get the next day, but they're really fast and he happened to be driving down my way. So he just dropped it off, give me a day to get everything packaged up and everything, and to start getting them out, but I'm going to try to get these out as soon as I can. All right, impression tests. I can pretty much look at this rubber and, see that it's going to be fine in terms of quality, but you always want to make sure, of course. All right, so I'm going to be doing a lot of black and white impressions here. I'm going to re-ink my pad slightly. I never want my pads like overly juicy, especially with the high amount of detail that I include in my designs. And especially these days, I'm including a little bit more detail to a lot more. Okay. I don't know. I just figured, all right, so I haven't had any problem with like rubber quality or anything like that for years. So I'm going to make everything like super, super detailed, or just not for the sake of detailing, but just I want things to be as kind of resolved from a textural standpoint and value standpoint as I can. And it just gives people a little bit more of a dynamic, kind of a visual to work with, okay? And I don't want to leave a bunch of things in the hands of everyone to have to do, okay? In other words, I don't want them to have to add shadow and an overly a high amount of it or texturing in there. Unless they want to. Now, I always do, but I don't want people to have to. Okay, first impression with this one. This is the flower field. First impressions, when you're making it with rubber, sometimes the rubber can have a little bit of ink resist on there from the removal from the molds. Okay, so, but that is as crisp as possible. But sometimes you get a little bit of resist on here. So sometimes like the third or fourth impression is going to be best. That being said, you can kind of clean off your stamp a little bit before you, make the first impression, but that is as detailed as we can be. In particular, I'm looking in this little area down here with a lot of dense, like mulch in this flower field, and it is just as detailed as I want it to be. These areas right up in here, where there's a lot of kind of more solid, dense, there's a dense volume of kind of dark, in this case, flower fields, okay? But they're not solid, okay? So I wanted to see if that registers, okay? And that looks, I don't know. I'm always astounded at what they can get with the, through the engraving process. All right, so that flower field looks fantastic. Okay, so I'm not really doing scenes here. If you watched some of my other videos of kind of initial test prints of my stamps, I'm just looking for impression quality. Okay, let me see here. I think I had a long, here's a perfect block for this one right here. Okay, so this one right here, this is kind of a grass cluster. All right, now you can stamp it high, but I usually, what I'm thinking about is having it kind of low on my cards in the foreground. So coming in from the left and right side, but you can see it's like this. Okay, so I don't see it being used like that. You use like this half over here. Now, this is a really huge piece of paper, so I'm not really going to use it like that, but it'll be on like on a quarter-page card. And then, okay, so that part was used right there. And then you ink up as much of the other side as you want. And you see, you can go as far over here as you want, or you can have it less, okay? But if I go like that, then we have our grasses coming in, and that kind of frames off your edges. I would overlap maybe some reeds over this to make it even deeper in terms of space. But the thing about these reeds here, as opposed to these ones right here, you could color these in with green like this and stamp it out like that. And that's what I always do. But I wanted some variation to that. So this has open grass areas. So we can color these blades of grass in here, different tones. And specifically, like if this was green, say, for example, I can have different shades of green in there. Okay, after you stamp it, you would color it in, okay? So let's go like this. And so you can carry this out as far as you want it to go. And that's why it has this kind of this design, I don't know, whatever configuration. Years ago, I probably would have done a left and right side. Okay, but this way, it's more continuous like that. You can use a longer amount of it, and you can connect it up if you want to, and you get that type of foreground right there. Can you imagine like a body of water in here? You can use your water lilies from the previous set in here, or a body of water over there, okay? But this one right here too, if you stamp this out first, what you do is you mask this over with a little bit of paper towel like this, and then you stamp the flower field right behind here. You see you have these grasses right here kind of framing off the flower field, okay? All right. You can see how many stamps you're getting here on this set. There's barely any room on here for anything else, so I really filled it in here. This happens to be the cling foam version of the set. A lot of people get the unmounted version, you know, if you can get really cling foam at a really good price, but on this one, really almost for the price of the cling foam, you get the pre-trimmed versions like this. And then you get this plastic storage sheet. It's just like for a few dollars more. All right, so just checking out my first windmill. Let's take a trip across the seas from the US. If you're stamping it over there, you know, it's your backyard. Well, look at that on the horizon like that. And can you imagine coloring this in with different colors? Or you can lay down your colors first, okay, different, I don't know, hues, different values of whatever color you want to. And then you stamp this right over the top. Or you go with like watercolor washes of, you know, different color rows, the same colors down here if it's the same color flower field. And then you stamp this over it in black, you know, so you can have this inherent kind of color scheme in there. If you want to go psychedelic, then maybe you're stamping this over like a holographic or something like that, you know, that would look really crazy because you'd have all these like changing colors within here. So I don't know. I don't know if it like it's on Earth. Okay, let's check out some our little characters here. Okay, now this one, if you're stamping this guy walking within the rows like that, you can stamp him out first and then mask him off and then stamp this. Or, you know, or you can stamp, I don't know, stamp it on something else and, you know, trim them out or something like that. But there's our little farmer and dog like that. He has that little kind of pitchfork over his shoulder. You can color his shirt in something, whatever color you want. And let's check out the smaller version of that same design. I really like this design right here, so I did it in 2 different sizes. Plus, we have a little bit of room. And we want to maximize the space on the plate. And then you just get more for your money. Okay, so there's that character like that. And then I have this other character right here. Characters. I'm looking at the pants right there, this, I don't know, whatever, denim overalls or something like that. And right in here, we have a lot of the detail retained. It looks just like my drawing, which is good, you know, in terms of detail retention. We're going to be getting to the most detailed image here pretty soon out of the entire new release. Okay, so there's a larger, like, farmer and a child, like at that. Here's the smaller one. That looks pretty good. And that plaid, I can't zoom in too close, but that he has this plaid shirt on, and I can see all of that patterning in there without, here's the most important thing, without it puddling in those areas, okay? And again, I can see a slight change in value right in here around that pocket area on the guy's backside. And what you want, you know what I mean? So it's not just kind of a flat looking whatever scenario, you know. So I want like high amounts of detail in all objects, okay? I don't know, the design would take like 1/3 the time if I just did it black and all solid, but having that like that, it just looks, you know, that lighting like back in here, it just looks more rounded that way. And then there's less work that we have to do when we're stamping these images out. There's less work to do to make things look real, kind of three-dimensional. We don't have to add in, you know, do like other types of blending in such a small amount of area, you know, to bring out kind of a more dimensional look. All right, let's check out this right here. This is some windmill, and it has the reflection down below. Okay, so, you know, naturally you're going to make this into like a body of water with a reflection down there. But in order, you know, I mean, this, you know, unless you're just stamping out kind of isolated, you're going to have a card out to, you know, one side or the other. Maybe it's going to be more water, or the card can go, this can go lower and you'll have more sky. But if you want to add something out to the sides, now I've created this little bank right here, so you can carry this out one way or another, okay? So you can just add that on like this, and then there's some bushes or something like that out to the side. Now, this right here, it's also the size of a lot of the other imagery on the next plate, the cabins and little cottages and things like that. But here, so with any kind of element in Stampscapes that's a body of, that represents kind of a body of water, or something waterside, lakeside cabin, or you know, lakeside cove, something like that. The thing that makes it waterside are usually the reflections. Okay, so what I've done is I've mopped off those reflective areas like that. Let's see right here. Let's say I want to put it on the horizon. Let me get my bearings here. I have to learn my new stamps. And if I go like this, right here, you know, this could just be a land element, okay? So just don't color in those reflections, and you have, you know, whatever, a land-based or not, you know, a non-waterside type of element like that. So I can just imagine all kinds of different skies in here. You know, can you imagine all kinds of different colors in like a, you know, sunset, dusk type of thing, twilight, and then you have the other colors down here. Normally you don't have like such like striking colors in the landscape, but this is a flower field, so suddenly the star of a scene could be the actual flora in the scene in terms of color. Okay, you know, other types of flora can be very dramatic in terms of trees, but I'm just talking just on from a color standpoint here. So I'm really looking forward to exploring that. It's going to be something really new for me. New and exciting here. All right. Let me see if this one will fit on here. This one is the most detailed stamp that I've drawn in a while, specifically in the sides of the windmill right here, you can see there's different values right here, and those dots in there are really, really dense, okay? Now those might fill in a little bit if you're using like a really thick ink, like a black pigment ink or something like that, or if you're going to do black pigment ink and embossing, okay? But then it just reads as silhouette, okay? But your dye-based inks, your solvent inks, the thinner styles of inks should render, very value rich. And I can see it right here. Those areas right there are not solid like that edge right there, but this is a transitioning solid to, darker or lighter. And this one here is lighter, but it's not completely light. So this is the one, from a design standpoint that I was really curious about. There's a lot of solid or surface area on the stamp, so a decent amount of pressure on it. See, I kind of move my pressure points around like this. Oh my God. Okay, I'm not patting myself on the back in terms of my design here, but I'm saying like that is like a phenomenal job from the engraver to get that super fine amount of detail in there. I'd imagine when they're putting this through the etching process and doing an acid bath, they have to make an assessment as to kind of the detail, the minute detail in a particular design. And then, they kind of use that acid accordingly, unless it's all automatic these days. I have no idea. I mean, it's such a niche kind of industry. There's not like engravers everywhere. But that is super, super high detail right in there. All right, so now right here, this would be really cool. Now see this flower field right here too. This almost goes too far back, kind of in the distance like this, okay? I'll show you right here. So like that, those rows. I don't know, that doesn't look too bad though. Looks kind of interesting. But I was gonna say, what you can do is you can take this and you can just ink up a slightly smaller portion. So I'm taking off like 1/4 of an inch off the top of this. Now, what do you mean by that, Kevin? Okay, it means that when you're inking this stamp up, just don't ink up maybe about 1/4 inch off the top, okay? And see this row right here, it shortens the row. So instead of going like, I don't know, that's, I don't know, whatever, 300 yards away or something like that. So when you go like this and take off, like, now that's like 100 yards away, right here. So you can use this right with the flower field like that. But this distance right here, kind of, it looks a little bit more, it kind of matches that distance a little bit more like that. All right. So that is nature set number 36 right there. I really like how this one turned out right here. With this grassy kind of edge like that. Look at that right there, especially that overlap right there. So see, I had to kind of end this area right here and this one a certain way, okay? And then it just blends in. I have zero sense of where this one ended and this one began. Okay, now if I'm stamping this out for years, I would, I'd be able to tell very clearly, but upon the first couple impressions like that, I don't know. I have no idea where one stamp ends. One impression ends and the other one begins. So that way we have that nice seamless transition in here. I think I actually even tilted this over a little bit and stamped it at a slight angle, but you can't tell right there. So anyways, just a different option for us, grass stampers. Foreground grass stampers. You could do this too. You can kind of stack it a little bit too, and you can go with additional rows. You just don't color in. or you dab off some of this bottom side. I did put this little edge on here in case this is kind of like out in the middle of some water or something like that. So I do have this kind of gravelly edge. But if I was stacking this and making multiple layers of this, then you just kind of wipe off the bottom of this so that it lightens up, and then you stamp, stamp another one and stamp another one, so you can have this really dense kind of wetlands kind of situation like that too. Okay, so let's look at some. Okay, so there's some additional structures on this piece right here. We have a lot of great filler things. So I see this cabin, this little cottage right here, this really super cozy looking house being used wherever you want it to go. It could be waterside, it could be at the end of a road, a path, anything like that. And again, there's that texturing like right in there on the side of the things. You can see like little bricks, and they really, really nailed it. I don't know. I've been holding back on some details in the past a little bit. I get them. My designs are all like super detailed, but these are like super, super detailed. Okay, so I haven't really been doing like compensating for the rubber stamp kind of whatever engraver capabilities. Like now, okay, so that was the other cottage. This one's like a smaller one right here, so I don't know, they can all be neighbors. But okay, so all these little houses like this, I think they'd be fun to, you can put them in whatever, the suburbs, rural types of things, but you can also put them in like a wooded type of scenario too, if you want to. You can put pine trees or something like that around there. And I think they would fit really well. This could be I don't know, whatever, the cottage, Little Red Riding Hood. Okay, so there's little houses right here, and I have some trees right back in there. And let's go for a smaller block right here. And then, I have some these other types of trees that you can add in around them. Boy, that looks really good. Impression quality. Okay, I'm not bragging or anything like that, but I'm talking about, the way this kind of blends in right here. So when you're designing a tree like this, it's one thing just to try and replicate, some sort of tree form. But when we're rubber stamping, you're doing it with the idea of that tree being used in repetition. Okay, so if you're doing like, you want it to look good individually, okay? But we're going to be overlapping it too. Potentially someone could make like an entire forest from it, okay? So you have to keep that in mind in terms of the foliage density. And now if it's like a skeleton tree in wintertime, then you're not having to think about that. But when it comes to, trees with foliage, the things that you have to kind of consider are how it's going to look when it overlaps. Now see that overlap right there, the foliage gets denser, but if I made the foliage like really dense, it would look like a blob. So there's still some air in between the overlap like that, okay? Now there's other things that people can do. You can kind of just stamp out, lighter versions, if they want it to look kind of more distant in there like this, third and fourth impression like that. But you also want it to work just with straight, completely dark impressions, okay? And then people can employ kind of different techniques, lighter values to represent more distant trees. But you don't want them to have to do that, okay? If they're like starting off and that's not something that they're going to be thinking about, they're just going to be thinking about perfectly 100% whatever black or whatever color you do with your trees, those types of impressions. So it has to work that way as well. Okay, let's take a look here at, those are some foliage and some trees. And again, I really like those trees. My ink pad's a little bit wet, a little smeared a couple things in here. This tree stamp right here, see that tree right over there? This one really matches it right here. So you go for, some smaller versions of it like this on the horizon, and that's the way you can kind of add, those more distant forms in there. I think my black pad's getting a little bit dry here. Let me see something. Or I'm kind of that point right there is kind of dry. There we go. The pad's fine. Okay. Let's check out some of the living creatures. Okay, here's the this girl with kind of riding a bicycle. They do a lot of bike riding in the Netherlands, I think. Or I don't know. Maybe I don't know in the rural areas, but like in the city for sure. But I don't have like some kind of urban environment in here. But she can be riding down like a little road or something like that. Maybe I should have done her in 2 different sizes like that. But see that little area underneath the umbrella? It's a little bit of a different value. And this is really small. I don't think you can see it, but there's different values on the basket too. The basket is a little bit darker on the side and lighter on the top like that. So you can kind of color it in. Now, if you want her to look different, that what you do is you color it in like so. Okay, but she is not out on a, kind of a drizzly, rainy afternoon. So what you do is you just, now I colored in my umbrella here, but just don't color it in to begin with. Oops, I think I just removed her head there. Okay, yeah, I just got it on the umbrella. So kind of just work that off right there. I might get a little umbrella, but I would have cleaned it off a little bit better, but then you can get just a bicyclist like that. All right, so all's well with that. Let's try the little canal kind of boat here. You can use this anywhere you want. There's the 3 people on here. I see them kind of putting this like water side in some areas, and you can put this little ferry boat kind of going along there like that. Let's check out the detailed areas on here. The detail in here is the little shadow. I have it transitioning from dark to light this way. And you have these people in here. You can do some really fantastic photo stamping with all these pieces. You can do it with anything, but like this area in the background right here, if you have like a sunset going or something like that, you can just stamp this right over the top and you'd have, that scene in there. And these 2 people are kind of like kicking back on the rail, looking out that way so they can be enjoying their views. All right, let's see here. A pretty solid silhouette stamp, but I do have a little bit of texturing on these horses right here. Not too much though. And these are, okay, I forget the name of this breed right here, but it doesn't have to be, anything like specific. Like I can't use those horses like where I am because that's, whatever, the Netherlands, of course you can't, you can use these wherever. Okay, this is kind of more of a silhouette stamp, so I'm going to hold this down a little bit, before lifting, just to make sure I get, I don't get kind of like air bubbling in there. And that's when you kind of stamp down and you lift up too fast and there's a lot of moisture in there. And it just kind of comes off like a vacuum. You can see it a little bit on this horse right here. But I left down long enough for that ink to transfer. And of course, you don't want, the horse and the Okay, I forgot the name of the baby horses. Whatever, the baby horse right there. You can color him separately. Or here's the smaller one right here. You can put like two little babies going out, and, running around together or something like that, or any combination of. Same stamp and silhouette, but less ink, but still hold down, a decent amount of time to get your really clean impression like that. All right, let's stick with the horses and go with this one. I'm really excited. I wish I had this one. When was it? Yesterday? I don't know, whenever. But I had a perfect scenario for this horse right here and reflection like that. Again, a pretty strong silhouette and solid style of stamps, so allow that ink to transfer before lifting. Okay, and I'm looking right in here. Okay, you can't see this, but there's little kind of line striations coming in there like that. And then really super delicate dotted lines right back in there. And yeah, it's reading great. Let's go with the smaller one. The smaller one I kind of aimed in the opposite direction, so you can have this one here, and if you want to, kind of a little bit, whatever, 10 yards away, whatever, 15 yards away, we have the other one like this. You have like a sunset or something like that coming over like a body of water or a pond or stream. Wouldn't that be fun? So they're kind of backlit, and then we have the shadows underneath. There you have them top lit. And okay, I'm looking at these and I'm thinking, okay, that's going to be the funnest one for me. But I already forgot about this one right here. This is the girl and dog right here. Now these two right here, one figure is fairly dark and one figure light, so they can contrast against one another like that. But on this one right here, it was like, okay, can people tell what that is right there? It's more like a kind of a golden retriever type of dog, but my little trick right here was, it was like, okay, it looks like one big shadow right here. So I don't know what people aren't going to know what this is right here. You can see her arm around. So what I did was I put that tiny little defining light on the silhouette, the back of the dog like that, to differentiate, canine from humanoid. Like that. I struggled with that one like that. I just can't, I couldn't figure it out. And it's like, oh, okay, I needed a little bit of a differentiation between there. All right, let's see. I just got a warning on my computer, disk space getting low. Let's go move along here really quick, and I need to delete some videos. Here's the smaller version of this. You can have these two enjoying a sunset view, early morning view, whatever. And let's see, we have the girl with flowers right here. We have that flower field, okay. Let's see her. And you can color, her little bouquet of flowers with whatever color maybe is coming out of the flower fields right there. And that should be fun. Oh, and I forgot about this one right here. There's so many stamps in the set right here. And you have your girl with umbrella right here. And then again, you get all those little details in there in the tonal range within that umbrella form. So all's well. Thanks to my engraver and my rubber guy for doing such a great job translating my designs and, you know, kind of retaining all of the detail that I could ever dream for, you know, these pieces having. And I can't wait to use them. And I can't wait to get these out to you guys for you guys to use them. And I really look forward to seeing what you guys do with these stamps. So I'll be doing some little stamp sketches with these pretty soon here. So anyways, thanks for watching. And you'll find these stamps, if you're interested, on stampscapes.com in the sets, under the sets category, unmounted or cling foam or nature sheets.